Well, we hope you've had a cup of coffee or something to keep you going. But if you want my honest opinion, you're not going to need anything more than a little bit of excitement from the SFLm to keep you up all night. It's playoff football time, baby, and that's really all you need. Cameron Duty here with DJ Kilgannon. So excited to be part of this nightcap with you as we have the San Jose Flight coming in to Beantown to face the Boston Rebels. And as we said, a lot is riding, of course, as we said, playoff football, the chance to go on and play for SFLm supremacy on the line, an exciting game in the first game this evening. DJ, what can we expect out of these two teams tonight?
Ooh, yeah, let's get into that with Cam first. It is playoff time, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get excited. All right. Now, Cam, to answer your question, my good friend, it's just going to be about who can perform. You know, we saw in the other box, Philadelphia put it to New York. If you would have put that on a betting chart, I wouldn't have bet on it. Anything can happen. All of these teams won it with all their heart and soul. Can Boston's defense take down Brady White and this high-flying offense, or will San Jose put a stop to the Rebels' great, opening season of their entire career? It's going to be exciting to find out.
We're about to find out. You've set it up perfectly, my friend. Who couldn't get excited about this? You're not going to want to go anywhere for the next hour and a half or so. This is the place to be on a Wednesday night. And we thank you for being a part of it. Frank Doom mentioned that he's been up since 3 a.m. A lot of miles on that road. Goodness gracious, we thank you for staying up and checking in, brother. Thank you to everybody as that first pass goes incomplete as Brady White was looking for his intended target. 2nd and 10 coming up.
Yeah, and the cruise missile, been doing it all season, gonna do it again there. Makes a hard hit on the receiver just as the ball attempts to reach his hands.
Brady White under center in the halfback position. You'll have Ace Ketchum and Ant Tim this evening. The fullback Speedy Gonzalez and the wide receivers. We'll mention them after this as that pass is batted down. And you mentioned this Boston defense. One of the people who anchored this D is Landon Onim, who made that play right there.
Yeah, certainly made a play, and they went in the dime package there. Looks like they have Morgan Brown playing the middle when it comes to that package. And, we know the Flight want to air it out. I imagine they're going to be in that dime look a lot.
Big play coming up already as White pump fakes pressure in his face. He goes deep. Oh! He finds his man, Victor Rojas, for the first down and a huge conversion. You don't want to go 3 and out on your opening drive here.
You certainly don't, and they certainly didn't. A huge connection to Victor Rojas over the top, attacking the deep threat like he's done so well all season long. One of the main wings of the Flight offense all throughout this season.
Got that one-on-one coverage on Dondace Talacarne, and they were able to connect. 1st and 10. There you see Ketchum running hard, gets the first down on the first down carry. We'll continue with the starting lineup here for San Jose. We will mention the wide receiving core: Victor Rojas, Luke Caduti, Aiden Texera, and Kevin Parker. The two tight ends, Rodney Smith and Sanj Singh. And then the offensive line, Rachel Minner, Queen Porter, and Sarah Bergens. As we go 1st and 10 here.
Oh, goodness.
It is a handoff as it's a gain of 4, DJ. 2nd and 6.
Yeah, it was, and a very heavy set look from both of those squads. Both knew it was going to be a run, and again, we're going to see it, just going to be a battle of pure force.
2nd and 6 as we see motion in the backfield. And running hard is Ace Ketchum. Nothing there. Brings up a big 3rd and 4 where we will introduce this Boston Rebels defense quickly. Defensive tackles May West and Landon Onim. The defensive ends Baron Went and Moss Booker. The linebackers Morgan Brown and William Patterson, LJ Doraz and Duncan Onim. The cornerbacks Hudson Cruz and Jimmy Hatsis, and the safety Scotty Kilgannon and Dondace Talacarne as we have 3rd down coming up here. Pump fake, throwing deep, and again connecting with Victor Rojas short of the end zone. It's a 1st and goal for the San Jose Flight.
And Brady White looking perfect as of right now, Cam. We have a ton of football left to play. But you have an out route. Victor Rojas, so good at attacking the zone. He gets past William Patterson, who was playing that outside linebacker position, helping in the zone, and they throw it perfectly right before the safety gets there, and that's just technical.
How about the cool, calm, and collected composure of Brady White starting this game? First and goal inside the 5 to catch him running hard. Gets ever so closer to the goal line as second down is on its way. But, you know, that's a big thing in playoff football, man. Containing the nerves, harnessing that energy.
Yeah, certainly. And you talk about it's such a high-octane environment. Nothing up to this point matters. All that matters now is whether you win or lose.
Gonzalez, the fullback, going in motion. And over the pile, into the end zone, touchdown, San Jose. That is Tim with the carry, and the halfback gets it done in an early lead for the Flight.
Yeah, and Tim padding another touchdown onto a great season they have had as such a good goal line back, and what a good spot to do it, getting the first points in the second game of the playoffs for this SFLm season. And my goodness, the Flight already sticking to their nature, Cam. 2 huge completions that were the backbone of that drive.
I think Flight is the appropriate mascot for this team because that's exactly what happens with this passing offense. And so you see it there on display. San Jose leads 7-0. We'll get a chance to look at this Boston Rebels team. Ooh, a little dangerous there on that return. And a fumble, just as we were talking about the perils and traps of a return gone wrong. Now that ball comes loose, but I do believe, DJ, that Boston was able to recover.
Yeah, that was a number 60 who was able to scoop it up after the Joey Hightower fumble. And, you know, that's not something you're going to see too often. You know, you think about mistakes on special teams, you usually think about that from one of your generics. Joey Hightower not going to do that again very often, I imagine, in this one.
We've got Boston this evening wearing their Rebel Red alternates. Looking good under center. The first time today, Dakota West going to throw from the pocket. Short pass. Gain of 2. That's 2nd and 8 coming up. We'll introduce you to the starting lineup. We mentioned Dakota West, the quarterback. The halfbacks, Jacob Brewer and Lenore West. The fullback, Bismarck Wright. And the wide receivers, Joey Hightower, as we previously mentioned. Curtis Friesen, Captain Cool. And Angel Maldonado, wide receiver. The tight ends, Django West and Mike Kleinecht. And the offensive line, Oliver Tarask, Demon Pickle, and Portia Henson, as that rounds out that starting lineup. And look at this response from Boston. San Jose has Brady White and Rojas, well, they say, as in Boston decides to say, you know what, I got Hightower and Friesen on either side. We can make it happen too. What a play.
Yeah, throwing it to the Hightower, high pointing that pass, making Joey Hightower put in some effort and jump up and get that one. The black sheep, Stephen Goodman over there in the coverage. Not terrible coverage, just a tough throw when you see that mismatch. Joey Hightower 6'2", Stephen Goodman at about 6'1", just a little bit of a height advantage, but we know Joey Hightower has the hops.
Bismarck Wright running left gets a great pickup on first down, a gain of 8. Quickly back to the line, 2nd and 2. After this play, we will announce the San Jose Flight starting defensive lineup. About halfway through this first quarter already. And look at Bismarck Wright just taking people. I said I was going to do the lineup, DJ, but come on, let's comment on the physicality that Bismarck Wright brings to this Boston offense here.
Yeah, I mean, you have to, right? I mean, it takes 2 people to bring him down, and one of those people gets shoved to the curb like they're nothing.
Fresh set of downs for the Rebels. Playing here at their home Fort Independence Stadium. They always play well at home, and that's just a little bit off the mark. Indeed was going for Hightower there on that one. They just can't connect. So let's quickly announce the San Jose defense here, introduce you to them. Defensive tackles, Jack Big Boss and Chloe Meerkat. Defensive ends Peter Merck and Fred Himes. The linebackers Louis Quintana and Frodo Laggins. The inside linebacker in there is Bobby Green. The cornerbacks Stephen Goodman and Dustin Sikoski. And the safeties Cletus Youngblood and Amonte Dubois Smith throwing here. Short route, but a good pickup on second down, as that is the Boston tight end Mike Kleinecht.
Yeah, and just a little out route there to make it third and manageable now for Boston. Your playbook is pretty wide open. The run hasn't been amazing other than when they give it to Bismarck right in these certain scenarios, and they might just go back to that well again, Cam.
Throwing now deep for the end zone, and it's incomplete. That's going to bring up fourth down, looking for Kleinecht once more. Interesting play call there, DJ. Kind of surprised they went for the home run ball in double coverage on a third and fourth situation.
Yeah, that's just an instant of trying to get a little bit of air under the ball, maybe try and find your big tight end right over the head of the two safeties. And if that ball was a little bit loftier, might have been able to connect, but, just not able to. And you're going to have to punt it back to the flight, and hopefully you can get a great punt and pin them deep.
It was a great drive. For those who are not familiar, if you do not have a contracted kicker, field goal kicker that is, in the SFLm, then of course that means that the stand-in player, if you will, not going to have that leg and distance as a contracted SFL player. So that means that the field goal range is a lot shorter, and you'll see situations such as that punt occur instead of a field goal attempt. So Boston comes away with nothing on what was a promising first drive, and here comes San Jose right back with a gain of 6 on first down.
In Boston, their safeties are really good at shooting across formations to help with run defense. We saw a good example of it on that last play, and I think it's going to be a nice sign of things to come, whether or not they're going to be able to stop the run game.
And back to the run game they go. Good head-on tackle as Tim, they're going to say forward progress, does get the first. That was Talacarne who was able to come up and make the stop, but they're going to say the forward progress was just enough for a fresh set of downs.
Yeah, like we just talked about, shooting to the run from the safeties. I mean, that's just a prime example of it. Now another heavy look for the flight.
Catch him. Going into the spin cycle there, and he gets 5. And, one of the things that plays to the strength of San Jose, whether they're at home or on the road, is they are so good with time of possession, and you start to see it with this ground attack and how much time they eat off the clock.
Yeah, certainly. And, I would love to see San Jose try and mix up formations when it comes to their run game, Cam, because right now it seems like they're just running out of that same package every time. But, maybe throw in a run out of one of your pass formations, try and start throwing off Boston, because if you keep coming out in these heavy sets, it's going to start being nothing but run thoughts on the Boston side.
3rd and 1, catch him behind the lineman, trying to push him forward, couldn't do it, and the Rebels are going to get a big stop and a great play by Duncan on him, who, interestingly enough, is converted from outside linebacker, now playing inside, and comes up with the big play there, DJ.
Yeah, and I think we saw a pretty good example of it there. And, you see the heavy set again from San Jose. And, one thing that is so good about a team like the Flight is they have a really, really good pass attack. We saw it in the first drive. They can run the ball too. Your run game is going to be difficult to get going if the defense is expecting nothing but run.
And a good return there for Boston. Going to get him out to the 39-yard line. Again, Cameron Duty here with DJ Kilgannon, as we've been all season, and it's truly been a pleasure. Alex West back at SFLm headquarters, and we thank all of you for hanging out with us tonight here on the east coast of Boston. It's just about 13 minutes to the top of the hour, 11 o'clock, but we've got a lot of football to go, and we appreciate you sticking in there with us. Going to be well worth your while, I do believe. Boston taking over. Dakota West throwing with the play clock down by Kleinecht, and it's off to the races, outrunning all these white jerseys, and he gets the first down, cutting across the field. What a play.
Yeah, what a play. I mean, you think about those athletic one-handed catches from your receivers, but Mike Kleinecht, one of the best in the game, hauling it in dangerous territory. A lot of defenders in the area, and then you see the big tight end outrun him. till he makes his way to the sideline and finally gets caught.
We're just trying to corner the big man.
Yeah,
that's the only thing they had for him there. And, you know, another thing, props to Kleineck, catching that one-handed, but in stride, never missed a step on that route. 2 minutes remaining here in this first quarter of play. West throwing again, almost able to thread the needle, looking for Hightower. The second time we've seen him go for Hightower, and a good defensive stop by Stephen Goodman in coverage.
Yeah, Stephen Goodman blanketed the receiver, and then a safety over the top smacked right into the receiver, and both of those two factors going to be tough to hold on to that. I think that was Amonte Dubois-Smith who made the nice hit.
West again going to the air. Oh, off his back foot. Almost able to connect with Hightower on that one as well. Seemed like pressure kind of getting to West and kind of got rid of that one maybe a second too soon, if I looked at that correctly.
Yeah, I got to agree with you there, Cam. And Dustin Sokasi, I mean, especially when he's in the area, has 5 interceptions on the entire season. He has been a threat out there.
Now 3rd and 10, and this Rebels team, West rolling out, going deep, and there's the connection. They've tried a couple of times today, and now we know why. Hightower with the big touchdown. What a play to respond to this San Jose flight. Good job by the Boston Rebels.
Yeah, what a play indeed. Cam rolls out to his right, and he sees just one little lapse in the coverage by the Black Sheep, Stephen Goodman. He takes one step to the left. That puts him a little bit too far behind a guy like Hightower, and he ends up high-stepping it right into the end zone. It's going to be a tie ball game, Cameron.
That looked very reminiscent of the earlier route that they took on the 3rd and 4, you know, that last series, DJ. It didn't work out for them, but they went right back to the well and got the coverage they needed this time. And the extra point is good, and we are all tied up here at Fort Independence Stadium.
Yeah, and you know, one thing we did see on that, you know, 4th down, or, you know, that 4-yard attempt, Cam, was it was zone. Both of those safeties pinched down at Kleineck at the same time and forced the incompletion over the top. That time, we saw a more man look, where Stephen Goodman was in one-on-one coverage against Hightower, and Hightower was just able to separate himself and make a big play.
Speaking of a big play, looks like we're going to have a little bit of clipping here, and that's going to go negatively in the way of San Jose. They were actually able to pin that on the special teams man for the flight, and so Sakasi's return not going to go very far, and they have to start at the 17-yard line.
Yeah, you hate to see it, but if anybody is going to make some big plays and be able to traverse from this deep in your own field position, it's going to be the flight.
Again, starting from the 17-yard line. They give it to Ketchum, running hard, good blocking downfield, and then he makes them pay. How about the big boys and girls up front on that one?
Yeah, just tremendous, really. That's all it is. And, you know, so much separation. You see the receivers making great blocks, the line making great blocks. That's just all it comes down to is people doing their assignments.
Yeah, knowing your role. And that's the big part of it. I tell you what, it's a good time to be here in Boston. We've got, of course, this big playoff game. You got the Red Sox starting their season tomorrow. Stephon Diggs coming to Massachusetts as well. A lot of excitement, and I tell you what, this right here with the Boston Rebels leading the way, it's a great time to be in this city, DJ.
Yeah, certainly is. And, you know, you got guys like Duncan Onum on defense who made that big play, being able to bring down Victor Rojas. You got to be excited being a Boston sports fan, watching the best Boston team by far, these Rebels, of course.
There you go. This is a team that this city has came to know and love this year, and they love what they're seeing out of them. But now for San Jose and Ace Ketchum, tell you what, if you're a Flight fan, you have been tickled to death having Ace Ketchum in the backfield this year, as well as Tim and Speedy Gonzalez.
Yeah, they've been a nice combo of backs in the backfield. And now if you're Boston, you got to think back to all those heavy-set run attempts. You got to think this one's a pass.
And just out of the reach of the intended target, wide, maybe with a little too much mustard on that one, and it does fall incomplete.
Yeah, a little bit too much mustard on his pizza there. Overfired that one way too far. And if it would have been complete, Cam, I'd argue that was 7.
So easy to get fired up when you see a route like that and just kind of put a little too much muscle on it. Rojas going in motion. They'll get another chance here. 2nd and 10. 24 seconds and counting in this first quarter. And there is that response once more, going right back to Louis Caduti for the 1st and 10. And boy, that's what I like about watching a quarterback like Brady White. Not afraid to sling it around, but able to make really good decisions in the pocket.
Yeah, I mean, one thing he does really well is being able to trust his receivers. You know, it's one thing whenever you see a guy open and you make the correct read and make the throw. But whenever you see a guy that's, you know, in between tight coverage, you just got to throw it up and hope they can make a play. That's just team chemistry.
Made it to the end of the first quarter, all tied up at 7 in Boston. This is the SFLm playoffs, and you're watching on the Virtual Football Network. Cameron Duty here with DJ Kilgannon and Alex West back at SFLm headquarters. We're having us a fun matchup between these two teams. Everything we expected it to be, DJ, and then some, and that's just one quarter of the way through. San Jose back on the march, just outside the 30-yard line here, as Brady White to throw it, intercepted. Oh my goodness, what a terrible time for that to happen. It's Hudson Cruz, the Cruz missile, stepping in front of the pass. That almost looked like a surefire thing down the middle, and Cruz intervened.
He certainly did, Cam, and what a huge spot to get the young man's 4th interception. Oh my goodness, as the flight are pushing a little bit further and further downfield. And you know, if that was completed, I was gonna criticize how much room the corners were giving to the receivers of the flight. But right there, we saw exactly why they made that decision, and that's why I'm in the booth and not on the sidelines.
Boston's defense making the big play. Now Dakota West throwing underneath to Lenore West. And a great play. We haven't seen Lenore West take many receptions this season. We've seen Bismarck Wright do that quite a few times. But great job right there of getting her involved.
Yeah, so yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing. You don't often see too many downfield routes, especially from Lenore West. You're usually going to see the sweeps to the right, the left, the little flat routes that are going to get a gain of 1 or 2. But that time, all the way downfield towards the midfield and pushes for a 1st down. Nice play.
Dakota West again throwing. There's Hightower in clean as open air, clean space, shakes off a tackle and gets pushed out of bounds, still on his feet. And boy, I tell you what, that has rejuvenated this Rebels offense.
Yeah, certainly. And, you know, talk about high flying. Right now, Boston is looking fantastic. Dakota West playing better than they have all season. Dakota is looking locked in right now, Cam.
You know, I dare say, I know Boston comes in here with a 4-6 record, but I do believe that them and San Jose, as a matter of fact, playing some of their best football this entire season coming down this late stretch. West throwing, takes a shot, and another shot at the end of that on one of the targets there. You got to think. Yep, that or pass from the passer or PI, and they do get San Jose on that one. That's number 24, Dustin Sakasi, who's going to get called with it here.
Oh, come on. I don't know about that. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to comment. The last time I commented about the reffing in Boston, they threatened to throw me in the harbor. So I'm going to leave that one on the back burner, Cam.
To be honest with you, DJ, I didn't know that you were really who I was talking to the entire week leading into this till we got here in the booth and I could visually see it was you because, yeah, as you said, the last time we were here in Beantown, you were getting a lot of threats thrown your way, my friend.
Yeah, man, I'm still kicking, thankfully.
West to throw across the body. Oh, what a response. And look at Hightower. 3 white jerseys all around, and West is able to thread that thing in there, and Hightower able to hold on to it after a vicious hit.
Man, Cam, you know, you think about to the beginning of the season when, you know, this team was first starting to take off, how far Joey Hightower has come from those first few games. He was in a backseat role Right now, he is playing some of the best receiver play we're seeing across the league.
You know, the thing about it, as we watched this first down play here, we watched his real coming out party, if you will. He was, as you said, a backup to, you know, the Curtis Friesen at the time, and he went down. He got injured. And I believe this was against one of their matchups in New York. And, you know, it was basically who is going to step up. We haven't seen anybody else be able to yet this season. Hightower showed up and has been on everybody's radar since. Second and goal coming here inside the 5 for Boston. That's a shovel to the left side, and Ford is, oh my goodness.
Oh, man.
Holy cow, what a carry there by Lenore West. I thought she was going to get to the end zone on that one. Just short, but what an effort.
Yeah, so close to getting into the line of scrimmage. Fought off so many tacklers, I should say. Really athletic play, just not enough. Now you got one final chance to punch it in before 4th.
Third and goal here. What will they do? Over the top, and there it is. We were expecting it, and it's the fullback, Bismarck Wright, doing Bismarck Wright things. And a touchdown here by the Rebels, pulling out front.
Make it 6 on the season for Big Bismarck Wright, the fullback, playing back at the halfback spot, and he's going to dolphin dive on into the end zone. And what a well-sustained, very balanced drive from them, Cam. Came out really well passing the ball, ran it really well towards the line of scrimmage, and, you know, shout out to their defense. They made the huge play to make this possible.
The extra point is good, and you're exactly right. Points off of turnovers, huge. In a 6-play, 72-yard drive that took up just 2.5 minutes roughly, Boston back out in front. Folks, also, let me remind you, we want the SFLm to reach more people, don't you? The best way to do that is to smash that like button, leave a comment on the video, subscribe to the channel, and you can help us reach all the people who need more football in their lives. And as always, we thank you for your support of the Virtual Football Network.
Yeah, you know, and, you know, you talk about this league growing, Cam, and just to take a second, everyone watching, everyone that does week to week that comes in here supports not just us, but Alex and the growth of the league as a whole. We appreciate you so much. All the love and respect to you guys for coming in every week.
Absolutely. Could not have said it better myself. Flag on the play quickly. We got to assume that that is a little bit of pass interference on Boston, and that is indeed what the ref signals, as they're going to get that on Duncan on him playing in that linebacker spot. We're not going to replay that one, I don't believe, here, DJ.
Yeah, you know, I'm more neutral after that one now that Boston got a call on defense. But now we're going to see what Brady White can do, and we're going to see if this game stays physical, Cam.
White, good protection, throwing over the middle. It is tipped. And, you know, this is a big drive for Brady White because he wants to be able to say, you know, I was able to shake off the INT, get right back up on the horse, and throw some zingers. Right now, the defense, though, doing a pretty good job is Kilgannon, who you know, as doing a good job back there.
Yeah, and Mr. Butterfingers out there, I would have loved to make that call, but unable to hold on to that one. But bats it down and saves what would have been a touchdown if he wasn't there to make the play.
Now White throwing again. Oh, goodness, it's on him with an INT to run. Nobody can get him down. It's up to Brady White to make that tackle on the big man back in San Jose territory. What is going on here?
Oh, my goodness, Cam. What a play. Look it on him. Walking backwards in stride. Bang. Looking like a tight end out there. And we're going back the other way. Boston is playing like they have and like they always could have this entire season, showing why that 4-6 record doesn't make a difference.
This defense has came out and has looked absolutely spectacular this evening. We said that it was going to take a great effort from this Boston D to be able to stop this high-flying San Jose offense. And you know what? Right now, they are doing just that.
Certainly. Yep.
And now, can they get points off turnovers here? We'll see. West throwing right down the middle.
There he is.
There's Captain Cool.
Oh,
freezing.
no.
Oh, my goodness. Not again. The second time this season. Freezing on his side. They roll him over to check and see what's going on with him here.
Oh, I can't believe it. We were just talking about it, Cam.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Deja vu.
Yeah, literally. And it's like we're speaking the future up here. I mean, just as we say it, it happens. And now, I mean, you got to look who's going to step up, and we know who can. But hopefully Captain Cold's able to get back on the field healthy.
Yeah, that's rough. He had just got his first reception of the evening.
Yeah.
And you felt like that was going to be, you know, the spark that got him going. And hopefully it's nothing serious. And yeah, like we said, we've seen this story before. West throwing off the hands of Maldonado. Angel Maldonado there. It was all over the place. Sakasi almost had it. Maldonado almost had it. And it falls incomplete at the end.
Frank Doom in chat. Am I a San Jose flight homer? Absolutely not. No way, Jose. I'm one of those underground miners out of Lexington. That's my home in the minor leagues back when I played.
Play clock down to 5. Handoff to West, and it goes nowhere. Boy, that's a good defensive play by Luis Quintana.
Yeah, I mean, he's been doing it all season, Cam. He has been fantastic for this defense, and he's been putting on a clinic. That's his 13th tackle for loss.
And we'll see what this does to this Boston drive. All right, Dakota West rolling out, throwing the lefty to the end zone. Looking, and look there to Hightower, who we expected Dakota West to go to, but it's incomplete in the back of the end zone.
Yeah, and just really tight coverage by the defenders, Rand Marsudi and the Black Sheep, who, you know, seems to be the matchup of Joey Hightower tonight. I feel like every time we see the ball go Hightower's way, you know, Stephen Goodman is shortly in the area.
This will bring up a 31-yard field goal attempt here for the Rebels to try to extend their lead to 10. The snap gathered up. The kick is good. And so able to, again, get some points off of that play. Maybe not the end of the drive that they wanted. It did get derailed there after Friesen's injury and then the loss on the ground. But able to get a field goal out of it. And that's a good thing, extending it to 10 for the Rebels.
Yep, and if you're San Jose, you know, you just got to make a little bit more, I mean, you say safe throws, but not really. You know, this flight team is all about big plays from the passing game. You don't want to switch up too much from what's gotten you a positive record all season long. But, I mean, you just got to keep the turnovers at bay.
You look for the silver lining for San Jose in that turnover, and it was the fact that the defense was able to hold Boston to a field goal. It is a 10-point game as opposed to a 2-touchdown game, and there's plenty of time for Brady White and this San Jose flight to make some headway here, put some points on the board. White throwing again. Oh, and that was almost a third interception. I tell you what, that secondary, and Hudson Cruz in particular, is just right now, he's in Brady White's head. You got to think just a little bit.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, he's just all over the field right now. Almost had another one, which would have been huge.
You know, and I'm going to tell you, being around, you know, quarterbacks and playing the position before and in previous things, I mean, you know, it does weigh on you when you get a couple of INTs on your record, but you got to go back out there and sling it one more time, and we see him doing that. Oh, and Jimmy Katzis getting in on the play. And as much as I'm seeing a kind of a little bit of a rattled nature at the moment by this San Jose offense, I'm seeing brimming confidence with this Boston Rebels defense. They're going after everything.
Yeah, they certainly are, and we almost had another one there, which would have been huge. But that was a tough play to make. I don't blame him for not making it, but a nice deflection nonetheless.
Throwing there, and he finds his target, but it is jarred out. And I tell you what, in a situation where it is so tough to come come by yardage in this game. Texera can't really afford to be losing that one.
Yeah, and certainly not. And a tough hit. But regardless, when it comes to those spots, like you said, you got to try your best to hold on to it.
A good punt here. A pretty good return also in response for Boston. 6:04 remaining in this first half. We thank you guys for, again, like you said earlier, DJ, folks just sticking with us there in the chat. Miles, it's good to see you. Thank you for the kind words, buddy. That guy down there in Dallas, he's trying his best, no doubt. Frank Doom, yeah, if you guys seen the other playoff game, 9 interceptions total. Unbelievable. Yeah, that first game is going to be a talking point around the water cooler for sure. Doug Day in the chat, good to see you, my friend. Peter, Dondace, Justin Bates, Aaron Gooden. The cast of usuals is here as well as some additional, and boy, it's always fun getting to spend time with you guys. Brady White in the chat. 2nd and 2 coming up here for Boston, closing in on halfway through this second quarter.
Yeah, and I have heard the same. I've heard that guy in Dallas is pretty good, but I've heard he's no Marco Swift over in Los Angeles.
Ooh. Well, I tell you what, that quarterback's better than that kicker.
You think so? I don't know.
I'll tell you what,
things, man.
That duty kicker, well, okay, field goals he may be all right, but now that punt, and Frank Doom can say, yeah, we're still working on it with him.
Yeah, we don't need to. I wasn't going to mention it.
Yeah, that's right, Doug. Listen, Doug Day commented, he sent me a message on Facebook last week, thought he'd seen me in Oklahoma, and I tell you what, that's
no,
it's Dakota West. I was going to say Dakota got buried, almost sent back to Oklahoma in the dirt, and now, oh my gosh, down on the ground, a situation you cannot have happen if you're Boston.
Cam,
oh my goodness.
You know what this means? This means we are seeing the man, the myth, the legend, the quarterback for the first game of Boston. We are seeing Jimmy Beans back on the football field. Hopefully, for the love of all Bostoniers, Bostonians, whatever they call themselves, Dakota West gets back on the field, because Jimmy Beans isn't that guy, but hopefully he can pull through now.
Jimmy Beans trying to come in and be a Jeff Hostetler, if you will. Throwing deep. Connects with Connect. It's going to bring up a 3rd and 14, but Beans is not afraid to air it out.
Oh, and I'm hearing that might not be Jimmy Beans. That's so sad.
That's right.
I think they might have released him for an extra concession stand. Which I don't blame them.
Let's see. We'll try to get an update on that for you folks. 3rd and 14 here as we await to see if West is going to come back. Now throwing across the body. It's complete. Oh, man. And there's Hightower, the guy you're going to have to rely on if you're on this Boston Rebel squad. If you're a Boston fan, you're putting your hopes and your dreams right now on Hightower.
Yeah, certainly. And the new kid on the block, number 11, making that throw, and a beautiful one. Not to mention tight coverage by Stephen Goodman, but Hightower already with 127 on 5 catches.
That kid is Sanu in town under center. We don't even have him on our roster. Pitch play going nowhere that time. And I believe that's Ramsey in at quarterback. Loss of 3 there, as Ramsey will take a snap here, 2nd and 13. So kind of really interesting territory right here, DJ, at the fact that, we're just scouting a new player with the rest of you all.
Yeah, I mean, certainly, and hopefully he can pay.
Oh, look at Ramsey! Touchdown! Incredible off the bench. The new kid in Beantown. He finds Maldonado, and it's a touchdown. Catching it in stride. What a play.
Oh, my goodness. The Boston hero right now. You see Dakota West go down. It doesn't even matter. He connects with Maldonado over the top, making it Maldonado's first on the season, Cam. And what a time to get it. You're going to push the lead to a big margin now, making it, what is it? It's 17, I believe?
Yeah. 17 after that extra point, DJ. Holy cow. This game has had a little bit of everything when it comes to the emotions. We have seen the highs and lows. Brady White trying to work out of some early snafus in this game. The offense not clicking like they would like. The Boston defense standing up and DJ taking control. And now you get Dakota West and Friesen out of the game. And who you gonna call? You're gonna call Ramsey and Maldonado for a couple names to throw out there. That's a 17-point lead.
Goodness gracious, what an exciting turn of events. And you know, I am getting word that I hear Jimmy Beans is working at an oil change shop in Weatherford, Oklahoma. I hear he's the manager on the lube side. So if you ever in Weatherford, avoid that shop by all means, because I hear he's dangerous.
Hey, I think that's where Doug saw my twin, as a matter of fact, my alter ego down there in Oklahoma.
You know, I'm glad it wasn't you, because if you were in Oklahoma and we didn't meet up, I would have been pretty upset with you.
That would have been very disappointing, as the pass falls incomplete. And it was so funny, because when Doug sent me that text, he said, "Hey, where you at?" And I said, "Man, I'm at work. What do you mean where I'm at?" And he said, "No, I seen you." And I'm like, I don't think you seen me, Doug. Sent me a picture of the guy. I'm telling you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he was a handsome devil, and I can confirm he looked just like me. What's a throw deep? Hey, look at this! A response by Victor Rojas, and it's a foot race to the 10 to get him down around the 7.
Oh my goodness! I mean, we were laughing, but Cam, that is no laughing matter. Victor Rojas takes the lid off of the can of beans in Boston. Oh my goodness! He gets past Hudson Cruz. Has been phenomenal all night in the week 8. Signing Scotty Kilgannon, thankfully for the Rebels, tracks down Mr. Rojas and tackles him just outside the 5.
Man, what a foot race that was. And for San Jose, signs of life, and what a play by Brady White, too. What a great play. Now, to orchestrate this first and goal, driving, oh, so close. Tim just about bulldozed forward for his second touchdown of the day.
Yeah, and nice run there, barreling over a guy to push it to the 1. And let's see if another run play is going to be able to push it into the end zone for one of these teams.
Second and goal, you know they're going to try to get there and catch him, able to cut the corner. And it's a touchdown. And the drive that this flight so desperately needed to draw within 10, assuming an extra point, is good.
And we see a foot race between Ace Ketchum and Morgan Brown. And you know what they say, Cam? Catch 'em if you can. And they can't there. Ace Ketchum going to cross the line and make it a more doable comeback now. Going to push it to 10 with the extra point.
The game, like I said, the emotions, folks. This thing far from over. The snap a little high, but it's reined in. And the kick is good. And the lead shrinks to 10 for Boston. And now you've got Ramsey coming in under quarterback. We expect to see him. We'll see if Dakota West is able to get back out there. But you gotta imagine that Ramsey is going to be under center. And with that, DJ, how do you approach this game? Do you change anything up to this point that you would have done for Dakota West?
You know, I think they can't. You saw that Ramsey, he can do it. He can perform when the lights are bright. He's already done it once. Stick with the game plan. And Cam, I don't know about you. I'm upstairs right next to the attic. It's naturally hot up here. It takes till about the 4th quarter to really get me going with some sweat. But I am fired up right now. We're not even through the half, and there's already sweat on my forehead. I don't know about you.
I mean, we've got a barn burner here, and the intensity has picked up here in the booth, no doubt about it. Keeping it on the ground here with Lenore and a 1-yard gain on the play. But no, you're exactly right. I think everybody here, everybody on the field, everybody in the stands, everybody watching this game and in the chat tonight is feeling that intensity. We're all just on pins and needles watching this game develop.
Yeah, it's playoff time. I mean, what else is there?
It's amazing. These two teams played each other all season long. All 4 of these squads seeing each other quite regularly. But it's a different vibe when you add playoffs. It's just a different atmosphere. Ramsey Throwing across the middle to Connect. That's a good play on second down by the youngster there, finding the they're all youngsters in this minor league, but finding the more experienced Connect out there.
You know, and it's interesting, Cam. You think about Hightower and Friesen on this offense. Mike Kleinecht leads the team in receiving yards as well as touchdowns. You know, he hasn't showed up too much besides the huge one-handed catch earlier, but he is a hallmark of this offense.
We way to the 2-minute warning in a game where everything is on the line and both teams fighting through adversity to try to get this W. You're watching the SFLm on the Virtual Football Network. Ball just outside the 40-yard line here. As you see Hightower going in motion. Again, Boston without the quarterback, Dakota West, and wide receiver Curtis Friesen. Still trying to get it done, and a great run on the inside there by Bismarck Wright. Now, that's a guy. You talk about needing to lean on some of your rocks. You've got Kleinecht, you've got Hightower, and you got Bismarck Wright as well.
Yeah, absolutely. On the ground, he is just such a force, and we saw it right there, barreling over one of the league's best in Luis Quintana to be able to fight for that first down.
Lenore West having a really good evening as well. Gets 6 on a first down carry. Kind of methodical here. 1.5 minutes remaining in the second quarter. No panic yet out of the Rebels.
Yep, none at all. And just trying to keep chugging right now if you're Boston. If you need to rely on the run game, you can. But don't be shy to try and air the ball out.
Well, how aggressive do you want to be with this young quarterback coming off the bench, taking literally his first 6 or 7 snaps of his SFLm career as that run goes nowhere and a timeout called?
You know, and I would agree with you. If the stakes weren't so high, you got to try and take the first game in this series. You know, you're closing into halftime. You have the ball at the 50. There's a chance you're able to get some points before the half, and if you can score a touchdown, push it back to a 3-possession ball game.
Ramsey throwing. Oh! Net over the head of 2 defenders. Who would have thought it? A timeout called for. And I got to tell you, what a great job by number 11, Ramsey there. Again, throwing darts out there this evening.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's the aggressiveness I was wanting to see. A little bit more urgency with time ticking down towards the half. A great throw from Ramsey to Kleinecht.
And I got to tell you, DJ, on that, you got to think, San Jose trying to scout this new quarterback, maybe not got a feel for him yet, and it's working to Boston's advantage. Ramsey throwing, flag. We assume it might be pass interference. It was in that vicinity.
Yeah.
And we'll see which way it goes. And it's going to go on San Jose. Big play by, unfortunately there, Bobby Green with the infraction.
Yeah, and you're going to see another penalty go the way of Boston. I don't know, Cam.
Better be careful, DJ. DJ, I want you to get home on that flight, okay?
Yeah,
see,
I know, you know.
I wasn't able to see you out of the stadium last week because you had to catch that flight on the way back for the second game. We went our separate ways. But now, you know, I'm with you this evening, brother. We can't go down here.
Yeah, you know, I saw Frank Doom stalking me in the parking lot as I was leaving. So if he does come out, Cam, I might just have to use you as a shield.
Ramsey throwing, end zone, Kleinecht, just a couple yards short, first and goal, the timeout called for. You know, I got an idea here, though. You need a body double like I have in Oklahoma.
Man, I will go track that guy down. You know, we're in the same state. I'll be able to find him eventually. Just ask the ladies, hey, have you seen a very stunning man lately? And if so, where is he at?
Yeah, and you find one, you'll find another. First, getting serious here, folks. Maldonado in motion. Boston close to making a big play here right before the half. Play clock down to 2. Ramsey going to throw. End zone. Tip. Incomplete. Second and goal. Still plenty of time. 42 seconds left.
And the Black Sheep finally getting one in their hands after a little bit and able to make that huge pass deflection and save the touchdown. Ramsey was heading back to Maldonado, who we saw got the previous touchdown.
So Ramsey quickly finding a chemistry here with Angel Maldonado that's working to their favor. Kleinecht in motion. 3 receivers up there to the top. Kleinecht settling on the line. Ramsey throwing. Intercepted. Just about able to buy on that play right there was Bobby Green, the guy who got the pass interference call, just about come up with a huge INT.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, definitely making back for it. And now if you're Boston, what do you do? It's 3rd and goal. Do you try and risk it with an almost interception right there? Or are you okay with a field goal?
3rd and goal. We'll see if that situation develops. Ramsey rolling out, he's hit, and it's a fumble, and holy cow, it's going the other way. Picked up by Amonte Dubois-Smith. That's a foot race. Kleinecht gets him down across the 50 and the 40, down to the 44-yard line. And that is a disastrous turn of events for these Rebels.
I can't believe it. Almost, that one, I would love to see a challenge flag, Cam.
We're inside of 2
like
minutes.
Oh, gosh.
So we might see a booth challenge here.
Yep. I don't know. It looked to me like his hand was going forward. Maybe. Oh,
here goodness. We go. We get a booth review.
Get thrown into the bay if this gets overturned after saying that. I mean, it was right as I said it. Do you risk it and try and score? They do, and they make a huge play. Let's see who made that sack. I didn't quite catch it. Who else but Quintana gets there, makes the huge hit, and ADS, the 2, statistical best defenders on this squad. I mean, they're as a pair, they're leading the league in tackles by a good margin.
The biggest play of the night, and it's overturned. Overturned. They say his arm was going forward. And you see the disgust there on the San Jose sidelines. It is 4th and goal, and here's that scenario you were talking about, DJ. They'll settle for a field goal.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe the wide range of emotions we're about to see fly through the chat. Oh, that's got to be heartbreaking. And now, instead of having a chance to take it the other way off of a huge defensive play, they're going to kick the field goal, and they're going to get 3.
Extends the lead to 13. And I got to tell you, like you said, you mentioned the wide range of emotions on that singular play. How about this entire first half?
Yeah.
I mean, we're all a wreck out here.
Yeah, we really are, and it's just so intense right now. It's playoff football. Everything these squads have been working for all season, this is what it has been for all season. You're talking about, it's okay. We're going to bounce back. We're going to take it to the end. We're going to win the big dance. This is it's the first steps of the big dance. You're not quite there, but there's a chance you can.
And you gotta work through the injuries. You gotta fight through the things that push you back to get to that point. And now for San Jose, a gain of 1 on the carry makes you interested to see how aggressive they will choose to be here with the final seconds ticking down as Brady White settles under center. Looks pretty conservative to this point.
Yeah, for sure. And that's a great point, Cam. You look at the injuries. Your quarterback is out. I mean, that's huge. But it's almost like they're not going off the path. They're sticking to their guns, and Boston's winning. It's going in their favor.
Yeah, it absolutely is. As White is able to complete a pass there, not able to get in field goal range. They let the time run out, and a game that's had enough excitement for 4 quarters is just 2 in the books. Boston leads by 13 as we welcome you into this SFLm playoff halftime report. Camera duty here with DJ Kilgannon. We've talked a lot, DJ. We've said a lot. There's going to be more to come in 2 quarters. But let me ask you this big question. For San Jose, what has to be done this second half? What do we change?
It's interesting because really all that is working right now for San Jose as far as the passing game goes is throws down the field. And we know that's where they shine, but more often than not, they're able to get the short pass game involved as well. I know you had a chance to talk with Brady White before the game. I also did when we had the talk with him. And he said if they want to pull it through, turnovers have to stop. The mistakes have to stop. And the defense has to pull through. And right now, we're seeing the turnover bug in San Jose.
We've got 2 quarters to figure it out as we welcome you back inside Fort Independence Stadium. We thank you all for being a part of this with us this late Wednesday night. And I got to tell you, as we watch this kickoff here, DJ, we'll watch the action on the field unfold and break in if something big were to happen. But I do have another question to ask you regarding this second half. And boss, one of the things that we have seen that's kind of been their what's the word I'm looking for? It's been kind of their kryptonite the second half as well as they did the first. How are they going to get over that hump? Because that's been something that's plagued them.
Yeah, and it's just something that comes down to how can you adjust to playoff time. You have to be able to shake off that Achilles heel that's been bugging you all season. And now we're going to get an injury update. See how Dakota West and Captain Cold and everybody else that is out cold, you could say, for these guys are. See how they're doing.
So
gosh.
for West, it's a sprained elbow out for the remainder of the game and pulled stomach muscles after one reception there for Friesen. So once again, Dakota West and Curtis Friesen are out of this game for your Boston Rebels. We thank you, Alex West, back at SFLm headquarters for that update. And so for the remainder of the game, the next 2 quarters, DJ, it's going to be all Patrick Ramsey, and he's going to have to rely on Maldonado and all these other stars, Hightower, Bismarck Wright, Lenore West. They got to get it done.
Yep, they certainly do. You just got to pull it together. You got to stick with your guns. They were great even after the injuries. Keep that same energy. Keep fighting for every bit of yardage, and don't take your foot off the gas.
The San Jose defense, who has admittedly had a couple of tough plays down the stretch of that first half, going to try to get a big stop right here. Pressure coming on Ramsey. It just doesn't get there. And that's something, we saw the fumble, not fumble there on the review that turned it back over. They called it an incomplete pass, but they're now starting to get pressure on Patrick Ramsey.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a really, really hard hit right there as the ball was trying to come out. And let's see if he's able to shake that off and try and rely on your offensive line a little bit more to give you some more time.
San Jose bringing the pressure. Ramsey throwing back down. It's a one-handed grab. My goodness. Look who it is. Doing a little bit of everything is Bismarck Wright.
Yeah, and we talked about how these backs don't get utilized too much downfield, Cam, but right there, we just got slapped in the face because a huge completion again to the back. This time it's Bismarck Wright who finds himself down the field with the ball in his hands.
And you see Ramsey, 6 of 11, 115 yards and a touchdown coming off the bench midway through the second quarter. And a carry by West. Stiff arm. You can tell it's playoff football time. Lenore West. Physicality coming out. And you know what? That's something about Lenore, DJ. Yeah, she's a great runner, but I haven't seen some of the physicality this season that I have out of her tonight.
Yeah, absolutely, Cam. Lenore West is 6 foot, 180 pounds, and we just saw them serve Luis Quintana a silver platter of turf and dirt.
Good to see you in the chat, my friend. Of course, Mojo McClain there as well, and Michael Goodman. Thank you, guys. Throwing now, Ramsey into coverage. Intended for Jacobs, and that was a scary moment, I got to say, not knowing who's going to be on the other side of that football.
Yeah. Ramsey definitely getting comfortable now. Those are throws you won't even see some pro guys try and attempt, but, he fired it full force and almost went the other way.
This is his one chance, and he's going to make it shine. Toss play here to the right side. Nothing going as they tried to hand that off to Bismarck and not able to cut the corner. Good job by this flight defense.
Yeah, Frodo Laggins making a really nice open field tackle against the really powerful Bismarck Wright. You're not going to see someone be able to take him down that easily in one-on-one coverage very often.
3rd and 13 now coming up. 8:33 in this third quarter. Patrick Ramsey throwing a shot, flag, and could it be another PI on San Jose?
Mm-hmm. Check the bank account of that ref.
Oh my God.
All I'm saying, Cam, is they turned over that fumble. They called it back. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you're saying, my friend. Folks, if you happen to have DJ Kilgannon on social media, check in on him. Make sure he made it back to his home this evening.
I think my brother will be able to let us know.
Hopefully. That's exactly right. Well, it depends. It depends.
Maybe
you can't give him too much grief there. Look at the thing is you are right. Some of the penalties have played into Boston's situation, set them up very nicely. But the thing is, look at them, DJ. They're executing here.
Yeah, certainly. It's not coming down to those penalties. They are performing right down at the goal line, finding Kleinecht again, who makes it 80 with 7 receptions. Let's see if they can punch it in with the run game again. You see Bismarck right in a 3-point stance. This is going to be tough.
1st and goal as we see Hightower going in motion. And how huge it would be if the Rebels can punch it in. They got 4 tries to do it. And they need it. It's a touchdown for Lenore West. And the lead with the extra point will extend to 20.
Yeah, gets sandwiched by 2 big defensive linemen there was Lenore West, but it didn't matter. She's going to fight for every bit of yardage, and she is going to push her way into the end zone. And again, the rushing game pulling through when it needs to for Boston.
DJ, it is quite interesting. We made the comment coming out of the half. We said, Boston's got to be careful here. They've got to keep their foot on the gas. Second half productivity during the season has waned. What do? They come out with a 7-play drive to start the half, go right down the field, and score a touchdown to extend the lead.
Yeah. And, Cam, before this playoff bracket, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, I usually am, there's only been 3 games that haven't been decided by 7 points. And like I said, that's without this playoff round. We saw Philadelphia put it to New York, and I think it was 42-17, and somewhere around that margin. And now, and I'm certainly not saying it's over because we have a ton of football left to play. But right now, it's a 20-point lead for Boston.
Oh, we do. This football game has marinated, if you will. It's kind of turned in what we thought might be a sprint has turned into more of a marathon. A lot of scoring, a lot of clock stoppages we've had, booth reviews, injury timeouts, a lot of passing, so that has slowed the progression of this game down. We're well an hour into this broadcast, and we still have, almost a full 2 quarters to play.
Yep.
And so there's a lot left to be played and some opportunities on the table here for the San Jose Flight.
Yeah, and you talk about that 20-point lead, but I don't know about you, Cam. Right now, it still feels like anyone's game.
It really does, as Brady White throwing a little off foot there, had to get rid of it. Jimmy Hatsis was in the area. It falls incomplete.
Yeah, it just seemed a little bit too far led right there for Brady White, and he hasn't been as good as he'd like to be right now, but hopefully he's able to clean that up a little bit, especially with the turnovers.
15 of the 20 games were 1-score games. If that's a great stat that Alex West has given us there to throw out there, DJ, as the pass falls incomplete. 3rd and 10 now.
Yeah, and this certainly could be one of them. We know San Jose is high flying. They just got to put it back into 4-wheel drive, you could say.
Brady White throwing big 3rd down here and able to convert. What a nice touch on that pass. And then on the other side of it, you got Parker coming up with a huge reception. That's Kevin Parker, a Week 5 signing, making the big play.
Yeah, coming into this week, Kevin Parker had 153 yards, had only been targeted 11 times. It hadn't been too impactful this season, but right there, making a huge play when they need to, able to get the 1st down, and the Flight's still going to be pushing along this drive.
Like you said, DJ, it's playoff football. Everybody needs to rise up here. White throwing, almost able to fit that in. They're looking for Victor Rojas, and it is incomplete on the play. They've done a really nice job as this game has progressed on double teaming Victor Rojas.
Yeah, and Dondas Telecarne and William Patterson, a pair of them able to make the big play there and keep it out of the hands of Rojas. And, you know, if Boston's going to keep this lead, I think keeping it out of the hands of Rojas is going to be one of the most important steps to doing that.
Second and 10, 2 receivers on either side. As White throws across the middle to Rojas, got him open there, and a good play on second down. Going to make this 3rd and 2 a little bit easier on the playbook.
Yeah, you know, Cam, as we chug along, there's one name that I'm trying to think back that I don't think we've said, and that's Luis Caduti. Really hasn't been involved all night, and that's one of your, you know, most impactful players as far as yards go.
Yeah, I think he had one big catch early in this game, but he has been silenced for the most part as Ace Ketchum able to pick up the first there.
Yeah, and Doug Day asking when the next SFLm season will start, and I do believe it will be at the convention. Doing a live with Mr. Alex West, putting on a great show in person, and that is to my current knowledge. Like I said, I'm usually wrong.
Confirmed. You are correct on that, Alex. It is the SFL convention, which, by the way, takes place coming up in July. Now, we're almost to the end of April, folks, and that is a good reminder to, if you have not got your room yet, there is a special rate. You can find that at simfl.net, all that information that you would need. So make that reservation now so you can come join the party in Baltimore.
Yeah. I don't know about you, Cam. I made my, I actually, literally last night, booked my plane tickets and hotel room.
Well, that is awesome. Yeah, that is certainly a plan for myself to be there as well, my friend. And I got to tell you, I sincerely hope you make it.
Yeah, man. I excited to meet you and everybody else out there.
I also say that as we look at this challenge here, as they challenge the spot on the ball, I also say that because I need to get you out of Boston first for that to happen.
Yeah. That's
so
a good point.
You need to be on your best behavior for the next 2 quarters, my friend.
Don't tell anybody, Cam. This is going to be a secret between us, but I have Kevlar on. We'll be okay.
Oh, so that's where that extra stockiness came from. Okay, I just thought you'd been in the weight room a little extra since our last broadcast there.
That too. But we'll put it. You're right. It might be that.
As the ruling on the field is overturned, San Jose is not charged a timeout. I noticed you're looking very boxy. I said, man, the guy's putting in the work. I said, that's awesome.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you know what? Actually, you're right. I'm not wearing anything. That's completely what it is. I'm just I have a lot of muscles.
Yes. That was, of course. Well, exactly. Both of us have more muscle tone than our twins down in Oklahoma. Doug Day can confirm that. First and 10 coming up here.
Oh!
Grab. Brady White able to connect once again with Kevin Parker, who's coming up big in this game.
Yeah, we saw the other number 10, Maldonado, get a huge touchdown after a pretty quiet season, and now Parker doing the same on the other side. What an athletic catch. Just full length of his body on display there.
Christian Pachagaluppi, we're almost to the end of April. Did I say April? I apologize. Almost at the end of March, heading into April. Yeah, listen, it feels like it. Throwing their pass incomplete. White, we have quietly here watched San Jose put together a great drive, DJ. Honestly, they've been able to do a good job. The response that they needed to come out in this second half, indeed.
Yeah, and, they're close. If they want to stay in this ball game, Brady White and the Flight are going to have to put points on the board at this point.
Brady White throwing. A little short route there once again to Parker. Like we said, Brady White, yeah. Parker may be his secret weapon in this game here as it's 3rd and 5.
Yeah, certainly. Certainly showing up in a big spot right now. And, he's on the side of Hudson Cruz, who's made some really, really big plays.
3rd and 5, you hear the crowd come to their feet trying to cheer on the defense, and what a play! Finding out in the flat, Number 13, Louis Caduti, just as you talked about, DJ, we said, where has he been? Then he shows up with a great reception around the goal line, and it's first down.
Says, here I am, and thankfully for Boston, Jimmy Hatsis was able to make the touchdown just centimeters before the line of scrimmage, it seems.
Yeah, able to make that big stop, and it's first and goal. And now you got to expect maybe Ketchum or Tim over the top. We've seen it before. No, they throw it. They fool us all, and it's a touchdown. Rodney Smith, the tight end, brings them within 2 scores.
Yeah, and Rodney Smith getting his second touchdown on the season and only 7 receptions with that one going through, just tossing it right over the head of the linebacker. Just didn't really expect it. That was L.J. Duraz, the Week 10 signing, who was in there at middle linebacker. And, you know, and that's not a knock to them. I was completely surprised by that play call, and a really brave one by White. Or, you know, by the sideline, but a great throw and a brave throw by Brady White is what I should say.
And the extra point is good. So, yeah, it is a 13-point game here. 3:55 remaining in the third quarter. So, again, plenty of time here if San Jose's defense can stop this Boston offense, which we haven't seen much of yet in this game. Boston goes back on the offensive here. They'll start from the 33-yard line. And, yeah, DJ, right here you're putting all your marbles in the basket of this San Jose defense that they can get that all-important stop on this drive.
Yeah, and we know the defense can. You have some really lethal defensive weapons who can make turnovers.
With the time winding down in this game, you know, basically a little less than 4 minutes remaining in this quarter. A touchdown by Boston here. Very difficult to come back from if they let them get 7.
Yeah.
They start this drive with a gain of 4 by West.
Yeah, and you know, you talk about big play capabilities by your defense. The 2 highest interception totals for players in the SFLm are 5 and 4. 5 being from Dustin Sokasi and 4 being from Ramnar Sudi. They can get turnovers. It's just a matter of doing it and taking it back the other way.
Nice off there, you know, limiting the ground attack, and it's 3rd and 3. Interesting insight from Mojo McLean in the chat. He said, okay, so the key for San Jose to score touchdowns is to start a drive from the 30, I think it's 31 if I'm looking at that chat correctly.
I think so.
Interesting. We'll keep an eye on that, maybe where their bread and butter is, but they ain't going to get a chance to get on the field here as they give it to Bismarck, and he bulldozes forward for another first down.
He does. Another tough run from Mr. Wright, fighting his way, gaining every bit of yardage he possibly can. It's going to take a small army to bring that gentleman down.
West again, more stiff arms. Holy cow. Like you said, 6 foot and 180 pounds. And my goodness, the most physical I've seen out of Lenore West since the week 2 signing.
Yeah, and not to point fingers, but that was Quintana again who got shoved to the ground by Lenore West. Just another tough run from her out there. And she's not very big, but she has the heart of a lion.
That is for sure. Now, on the carry, Bismarck cutting back to the left, had open room, but it was a foot race. Fortunately for San Jose, you had number 43 in the area to get that tackle, or else.
Yeah, and you know, nobody said Bismarck is the fastest guy on the field. The big fullback chugging along and barely gets caught from behind by Ramnar Sudi to make the big play.
Clock continuing to run here in this third quarter.
Oh!
And a big tackle laid on by Amonte Dubois Smith, a loss of 3 on that rushing play.
Yeah, he's been a unit all season for them. One of the best in the league. Leads rookies in tackles.
Ramsey throwing, going for the deep ball, and he finds, guess who? Mike Kleinecht. They connect for the 1st and 10.
You know, when we talk about San Jose being the team who runs the catalyst of their offense through big plays, but Patrick Ramsey fires again downfield to Mike Kleinecht, and with 120 plus QBR, he's firing on all cylinders.
And like we said, San Jose got to come up with a stop here. A minute and counting in this third. And for Boston, getting ever so closer to that all-important W. Ramsey throwing, tipped, incomplete. Tense moments here, folks, as San Jose trying to fight for their lives. Sakasi able to tip that one away. 2nd and 10.
Yeah, and we almost saw one of those exclusive turnovers from Sokasi there, but able to bat it down nonetheless and save a touchdown. Still a huge play.
2nd down. Ramsey, plenty of time. Back to the end zone, going for Kleinecht, and it's jarred loose. Huge play by Dubois Smith, able to yank that one out of the hands of Kleinecht.
You know, and when it comes down to these short yardage field positions in situations that can win or lose you the ball game, it is your main all-star defenders who are going to show up and who are going to make plays for you. You see one from Sokasi. You see another one from Dubois Smith. And it's 3rd and 10. Anything can happen right now. You have to be on all 5 toes, or all 10.
Rolling out. Patrick Ramsey throwing back across, and it's incomplete. 3 straight pass attempts, 3 incompletions. Stephen Goodman, the man on coverage that time, as he was trying to find Angel Maldonado, and it falls incomplete.
Yeah, and 3 great plays by 3 great defenders all in a row. The Black Sheep able to make the play there and, you know, force them into a field goal now if they can kick it through. You know, they're in the 15. This is well within range for the non-contracted kickers. But crazier things have happened.
Yeah, not a guarantee by any means. The snap, the hold, the kick, though, it is perfect. And they're able to extend the lead, and even maybe more importantly, it was an 11-play drive that took almost 5 minutes up, DJ, eating a lot of clock off.
Yeah, they, you know, really besides that huge throw down the field to Kleinecht, Cam, they really took a more methodical approach to that last drive. And, you know, like you said, it really did exactly what you want to see them do in this instance as it chewed away that clock and, you know, pushed it to a further lead for them.
Fin move on the return. Again, San Jose will start at that 31-yard line, DJ.
Yeah, there you go. See if Mojo's a mind reader.
That's right. So for San Jose here, obviously you want to come away with any sort of points, but a touchdown would be ideal, and the quicker the better. Brady White under center. 3 receivers now to the bottom of your screen. But he keeps it on the ground with catch 'em if you can, and he gets 3 on the play.
Yeah, and the linebacker there making a big play, and, you know, you try and get one of your offensive linemen, usually one of your guards, to try and shoot through the defensive line and go out there and block a linebacker. And, you know, that's why some people say, Cam, that defensive tackles are some of the most, you know, unselfish in the whole entirety of the football community, the most selfless, I should say. You know, really one of their most important jobs is eating up blockers, and that last tackle we saw a perfect example of that.
And with that whistle, we've got 3 quarters in, 1 to go, and who knows what might happen. Boston leading San Jose 37-21. You're watching the SFLm on the VFN, the Virtual Football Network. Camera duty here with DJ Kilgannon and Alex West at SFLm headquarters. Pressure coming. White stands and delivers. Oh, it's intercepted. Oh, goodness gracious. And for the 2nd time tonight, it's dunking on him.
Yep, and again, like you said, and that one, such a tight throw, and we often see that go to the receiver. And that one was thrown to Rodney Smith, but that time the linebacker was able to just barely get in front of the hands of the receiver, and it's going the other way.
So the start from the 49-yard line, that is the third INT of the night for Brady White, as Bismarck taking over here. And they've got Lenore West, and they've got that man right there. And, of course, they also have Jacob Brewer, who we haven't seen too much of, mostly out in blocking formations this evening. Yeah. But the main objective for Boston now, DJ, chew that clock, and they've got the halfbacks to do it.
Yeah, they certainly do, and especially with how well they've been running tonight. And, they don't need to put more points up. They can run comfortably, and if they can put another drive up there like their last one, that's a success.
Bismarck again, putting that hand out, trying to extend the play. He gets the first down, and that San Jose defense been asked to do a whole lot this evening. They really have. A couple of turnovers that put them back out on the field quicker than what they expected to be. they got to be getting gassed at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, after a certain point, you just get so tired. You do a whole oh my goodness.
Oh, another one-handed grab, and that is Hightower.
Yeah, you do so much on defense just for you to get pushed back onto the field. Not even a drive later, stop short of the drive, and you got to go back out there and try and do it again on an empty tank. And we're seeing that right now for the Flight.
For those of you tuning in and looking at the graphic on your screen, Patrick Ramsey, the quarterback, under center because Dakota West suffered an elbow injury, went out of this game before the half. Also, Curtis Friesen out with pulled abdominal muscles. It's been working out pretty well for Boston. They've got a good backup and a touchdown on top of it. The Rebels extending the lead.
Yep. And now they're going to backups for big plays. You talk about who's going to step up when someone goes down. We see it. A generic to generic connection rolls out to the left and just hits it right in between the safeties. Those are the types of throws that are just picture perfect, Cameron, and we're just seeing him connect right now.
So you're saying a G2G connection of its own. Generic to generic.
Hey,
extra point.
Run for their money.
Extra point is good. 44-21 now. Boston leads. Man, 8:24 remaining in this game, and you know what is so interesting about this? Like we said before the big play, Patrick Ramsey coming off the bench, and like we said, folks, if you weren't here with us when he come off the bench for the injured Dakota West, we had to check our stat sheet and get a confirmation on just who that was under center. Jimmy Beans, no longer part of the equation, but boy, they got to be happy with this Ramsey guy.
Yeah, I mean, the passing of the torch from the great Jimmy Beans, I'm sure the city of Boston is just distraught that Mr. Bean isn't on the field. But, I mean, Patrick Ramsey is playing out of his mind.
$8:20 remaining in regulation. Now Brady White going to do all he can. Throws that one a little too hot, and it's incomplete.
Yep, and, it's just those throws that are just a little bit too far off the mark that we've seen plenty of times tonight. Just got to fix it up just a little bit more accurate, and that one's going to be a big game.
Folks, closer to the end of this game, we will have you an updated playoff picture for the games that will be happening next Thursday. And there is a screen out of the backfield to Ketchum, who gets a few. And it's 3rd and 7. He got out of bounds there, so the clock will stop with 8:12. No, I'm sorry, it will pick back up running again.
And San Jose, looking still in some of those heavy looks. Now we're going to see him in a very heavy pass look. I mean, all they can really do is pass right now. You got to fire it down the field if you want any hope of coming back. I mean, it's a 4-possession game up to this point. Taking
empty
out
set.
2-point conversions.
Empty set for Brady White. Throwing. It's complete, so the drive will stay alive. That is, again, Kevin Parker, who I believe that was his 4th reception on the night.
Yeah, really showing up in a big spot, and it's the little out route that really just kind of throws off the corner Hudson Cruz in coverage there, and Brady White able to connect. Maybe that's the little bit of momentum he needs to really get this offense going.
If these teams are to meet again next week, and you're San Jose as that pass is complete, I think you really got to look at factoring Kevin Parker into your game plan as Caduti gets the reception.
Yeah, certainly. And, maybe look at what Boston's doing defensively in this game and try and find a way to weak point it. Because, whether it be their great defensive game planning or maybe something on their side that they need to fix, either way, you're going to have to take a look at your passing game going into the next week if you want to perform.
White throwing. And again, just a little off the mark there. And, credit to this Boston defense because they have really made Brady White uncomfortable this entire game.
Yeah. Yeah, and, you're certainly right. You don't often see this many off-the-mark throws. Usually he's more of a try and risk it and see what happens type of QB, not off the money. Oh my goodness.
Intercepted, bobbled, kept in the air. Enough time for big number 59 to get a hold of it. It's William Patterson going the other way. And it's Rojas who tracks him down, but not before Boston gets to the 20-yard line. Unbelievable.
Wow. Make it 4. And we see Scotty Kilgannon tips it up right into the hands of William Patterson. And it's just green in front of him. Thankfully for San Jose, Victor Rojas and Ace Ketchum able to finally rally him out of bounds. But right now, you're back at the 20. 6:44 on the clock, and you can push your lead to 26 or 30 right now if you're Boston.
No kidding. That looked like Scotty Kilgannon did a volleyball serve, setting that one up there for Patterson. Pretty cool play. Toss play right side. Bismarck right says, get out of my way. First and goal, just like that for the Rebels.
I mean, he's just so physical, Cam. He if you give him a good 3 or 4 yards to run and get a head of steam going, you could put anyone in front of him, and I'd bet that he's able to barrel his way through.
I don't know about you, DJ, but the fact is that when I see him coming up on a defender, I kind of tense up just watching it.
Oh yeah.
You're embracing for the blow.
Mm-hmm.
As we've got Hightower going in motion, not able to wrap up Bismarck, and he gets even closer to the goal line. And obviously, as if there is a glimmer of hope, a silver lining, a little bit of a chance, if a touchdown is to occur here, that will be indeed the breakaway play of the evening, no doubt.
Yeah, certainly would be the final nail in the coffin, I'd imagine, for San Jose, and they're good, but I don't know if they're good enough to put up 30 in a 5-minute span.
Yeah, half a quarter. I just don't know. As Bismarck is pushed back that time by a gaggle of Flight players, including Bobby Green, amongst others, is in on that. And it's 3rd and goal.
Yeah, we're bringing out the vocab sheets. A gaggle? That's new
gaggle.
to me.
Well,
I feel like I'd hear about a gargoyle. A gaggle of gargoyles?
I'm not going to say it's correct even.
Yeah, fair enough.
It just happened. Bismarck right over the top for the touchdown, and they put up 50 on the San Jose Flight tonight.
They do, and you see the 3 scorecards show a 10 for that tremendous front flip into the end zone for Mr. Wright. He gets 50. 50 on the scorecards, 50 on the scoreboard, and with this extra point, if it's good, gonna push that lead to 30. And Cam, you look at last week. You go into that final week of the season, and it's the higher seeds versus the lower seeds. Philadelphia and Boston both pull off wins against the 2 best teams in the league. You come into the first round of the playoffs. It's do or die for Boston and Philadelphia. What do? they pull through again, and they both take wins. We saw Philly get one earlier, and now Boston has really put it to San Jose, and both of them are going to be going to sudden death matchups next Thursday.
Going to be so interesting, as we are going to see a face mask call on Boston. So San Jose will accept that. They'll start from the 37-yard line. Breaking news, as a matter of fact, folks, with 5:08 left in this game. According to the Oxford Dictionary, a gaggle is a flock of geese. Or a disorderly or noisy group of people. I would have to say that the San Jose Flight defense could be considered disorderly, as we've got an injury.
No.
Oh, you hate to see it this late in the game, and injuries have been the name of the game this evening. Ace Ketchum on the ground.
Yeah, and he'll be right as rain come next week back in Cali. And Cam, now that you mention a gaggle of geese, I'm curious, do you know what you call a group of crows?
It's a rock band, right?
Well, no. No, I mean the birds, crows.
Let's see. No, I couldn't tell you. No,
See,
I got nothing.
Now, again, I could be wrong. I'm going to look really dumb if I am, but I'm pretty sure it's a murder of crows is what you call them.
You are correct.
Bang.
Oxford Dictionary does confirm a murder of crows. Well, that's just horrible.
Yeah, and that's what we're seeing right now. It's a murder of rebels because they're really murdering the flight right now. And we see them hold them to 4th and inches again, and San Jose's really going to challenge it.
Yeah, they are going to challenge.
And, I think even if they don't get it, they're, for pride's sake, I hope they go for it and still try and put some points up. But, they think they got it.
We have seen so much laundry tonight, you'd think a fabric softener sponsored this game.
Yeah, that's no joke.
That's going to be... I think they got it. I think Tim got that one.
I think they're going to... Well, we're in Boston. I think they're going to uphold the call and keep it 4th and inches.
Oh, good Lord. Yep.
Yep.
You were right.
What do you know, partner?
What was that you said about a murder?
Yeah, they're going to rush at me with their muskets and bayonets and take me out.
There's going to be a gaggle of rebels flocking to find you after this game, DJ. So there we go. We've learned something new tonight, folks, that we may not have known before. A little bit of Oxford Dictionary info, as that is incomplete. 1st and 10, 4:29 remaining in this game.
Frank, I'm not anti anything in this league. I love everybody in the SFLm completely equally, except number 22 on Boston. I might like him a little bit more than everybody else, but that's no connection to maybe him having the same last name as me.
Kilgannon could have something to do with that. Who knows?
But
Gaggle of
rebels.
rebels.
My partner in the booth.
Hey, there you go, buddy. Listen. I'm going to be watching out for you this evening as we exit out of the tunnel. Okay, I got you back.
If I'm silent the last, this is just everyone watching. If I'm silent the last minute or so of the call, I've already taken off, just so I get a head start. But it was great.
DJ says he's got to beat the traffic home.
Oh yeah. Before I get beat by the traffic.
Hudson Cruz in the chat says a gaggle of rebels may be my new favorite terminology.
A gaggle of rebels. That's great.
Gaggle of rebels. You never know what you're going to find on a midnight here, Thursday morning, if you're on the East Coast here in the SFLm. As the carry goes here to Bismarck, still 3:41 and counting left in this game. Yeah, we have, for those, like we said, here in Boston and on the East Coast watching, we have made our way into the early hours of Thursday morning.
Yeah, and, they complain that we change up the scheduling, but we're still playing on a Thursday. Nothing's changed.
That's exactly right. We still made it into the Thursday schedule. You got that right, my partner.
and they will be back next Thursday. You're going to see the same matchups.
Yeah.
And now, oh, goodness.
Oh,
come
Bismarck, right. Come on. They have families. To the end zone, touchdown. Oh, the gaggle of rebels score again.
You know what I'm thinking of that clip from The Simpsons. Stop! He's already dead. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yes. Yes, I do.
Doesn't care. And already before that score, it was the highest SFLm scoring game to date this season. And that's going to push that number up a little bit.
Yeah, just complete domination by the Boston Rebels. And you better believe in San Jose next week that Boston is going to have their hands full. San Jose is going to be looking for revenge. We've got
certainly
79 total points in this game. Interesting chat here, DJ. Joshua Durr, if I'm reading this chat right off the screen, a fox is not fully together when it is born. Is that what I'm reading that correct?
I'm also reading that, but if that is what that says,
they are kits. Is that right? Kits. Interesting.
I don't know if you know what? I'm gonna take his word for it.
I feel like we've learned something new there. Absolutely.
Yeah, I feel like I'm back in school. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Hudson says he kind of feels like a bully. Well, I mean, you know,
we are back in high school, technically, with how much we're learning. We need a bully, and I guess Bismarck Wright and Hudson Cruz and these Boston Rebels can be that bully.
So Commissioner Alex West, as we see Brady White drop back to pass here, and it is complete. This game is not yet the highest-scoring game of the season. That belongs to the Boston and New York game that ended 44-41 for 85 points. I do believe we were on the call for that one.
Yeah.
So 7 more points to break that record. Not saying that, it can't happen, because it can.
I definitely should have specified what I meant. I meant single high scoring for Boston. I don't think anyone's put up 58. But, yes, that is correct. This is not the highest scoring total game yet.
Don Stalacorda getting animal facts with Cam and DJ's reminding me of local cable TV shows.
Hey, you know what? That's a good idea.
You know what you could do? We could do like full crocodile hunter. Crikey, mate.
Of
course,
I'll leave that to you.
Have to get Jacob in that. No, I need Jacob in here if we're going to do that.
I mean, that works. We need a tour guide or something. I don't know what they do to bait out crocodiles, like offer them Vegemite or whatever they do.
Reminds me of that song by the, what is that? Down Under by Men at Work, Vegemite sandwich. Yeah. White to throw complete to Rojas. They're going to say forward progress gets the first down, and clock continues to run. No huddle.
Yeah. They might get some points up.
White throw incomplete again. Able to hang on to that one and secure that football is Kevin Parker.
If they score again, they'll break that single season scoring title in a game. Oh,
tipped. Almost picked once more. Jimmy Hatsis, Showtime Hatsis with the deflection.
Yeah, and Showtime is right, putting a bat down on that one, and going to make it 2nd and 10 now for the Flight, and hopefully for the Flight's sake, they're able to keep it in their hands and push it down the field. And, it's for your own pride at this point. You're going to be going into next week back in San Jose. You'd like to end this one with a score.
White throwing complete again. Once more, it's Parker. Going up to the 2-minute warning. They won't get this play off. Couple minutes left in this one, and we'll be all headed home, folks. You are watching the SFLm on the Virtual Football Network. Hey, DJ, fun fact for you. A dog's sense of smell is between 10,000 and 100,000 times better than a human's, but they have just 1/6 of the number of our taste buds.
Huh. Interesting.
There you go. There you go, Don Dace. Love informing you folks. As White's pass tipped, bobbled, and incomplete.
You know, for our cable or our cable TV dreams, you didn't look that up. That was just off of pure memory, right?
Absolutely. Every one of these is just somewhere deep in my memory. I mean, I am the guy who said it was the end of April after all.
You know what? Fair enough. Now, if you need to know about some cars, that's where I can tell you. The only fun fact I knew was about the murder of crows. After that, I'm pretty chalk out.
Yeah, I know. You killed it with that one, huh?
There you go.
There we go. There's a pun for the night. Donde Telecarne says Cam may not have that dog in him, but he's got that dog information in him.
There you go.
Thank you very much. Soon I'll be hosting the Westminster Dog Show.
Yeah, there we go.
Hudson Cruz says, I'm just going to start Googling animal facts so I can feel like part of the game. Hey, feel free. If you got some facts to pass along here at the end of this game, brother, you go right ahead as we watch San Jose here trying to get into the end zone one more time. White to throw to the end zone, incomplete on a third down play. Obviously, you expect them to go for it. They were looking for Victor Rojas.
Yeah, and unable to connect. A hard hit right into the sternum of Rojas as that one gets overthrown. Hudson Cruz again has been on all cylinders tonight, been performing very, very well.
And so, to a surprise to me, they'll just take the points and try an extra, I'm sure, an onside kick. 21-yard attempt coming up here on 4th and 2. The kick is good. 58-24 your score right now.
Yeah, and 58-24. My goodness. Who would have expected this after the very even, consistently great matchups that we've had all season? And there's that onside kick you were talking about, partner.
Yep.
We see 2 blowouts now.
And it is picked up by the Boston Rebels with 1:41 to go. San Jose just one timeout left in this game. Won't be much more, and we'll be headed home in that one.
Yeah, and it's as this SFLm season comes to a close, I can only hope and imagine that everybody watching, has enjoyed it as much as I know we have, Cam. We've got to call so many of these games together and do the best we can to create a great product for everybody out there. And Alex West has really done some great stuff down here, putting everything together and keeping the league afloat. Rather than letting it dwindle away. And hopefully, I know we up here appreciate it. Hopefully, everybody else sees the work he does and appreciates him just as much.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said, DJ. You're exactly right. Big props to Commissioner Alex West and for you guys who have made this so much fun. The fact that we're sitting here at 12:16 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're actually talking about butterflies, anteaters, crocodiles, gaggles of geese, murders of crows, and watching a football game and having the time of our lives. It just really speaks volumes about the folks that tune in and participate in SFL games. And we thank you all very much for that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And the only thing we're missing, Cam, is some music puns. And then I think we have a complete broadcast. That doesn't mean we need to start. I'm sure we're going to get a few in before we're off air.
Oh, there's always that possibility.
Yeah.
But then you get Hudson Cruz telling you male seahorses are the ones that get pregnant and give birth. And how do you have time for a music pun?
You know what's funny? That one I actually did know.
Interesting. And look at this. Look who comes back in for the kneel down.
Oh.
Dakota West.
Wow. There we go.
He said, "Put me in, coach.
I want to finish
celebrate."
This one out.
Yeah.
I respect it.
I do too.
Forget the injury. I think it was a bicep, or was it the stomach?
Elbow.
Or it was a sprained elbow. That's right. But said forget the injury.
And I don't know if you caught this or not, but in honor of MLB opening day, I said, "Put me in, coach," from the classic center field song there. So there's you.
Oh, I didn't. You got me there.
I got a little John Fogerty in there.
Yeah, you caught me off guard. It's about time in that game where I'm laid back in my chair and just enjoying the
the atmosphere.
Enjoying these finals. Yep, that's right.
12 seconds remaining. Let's get these fun facts that Don Dace Talacarnis has put in here. Fun fact, there are dozens of different kinds of crocodiles in the world, but only 2 alligators, American and Chinese. Interesting. And Hudson Cruz says butterflies apparently taste with their feet. Ugh.
Their feet.
With their feet.
Now, do you know what you call alligators that wear vests?
An investigator.
Well, you got me there.
Did you hear about the 2 criminals who got in trouble for stealing a calendar?
I don't think I did.
They each got 6 months. 9 seconds left, folks. That's how you got to deal with us. 9 more seconds. And the clock winds down. Brady White incomplete. Okay, we got 1 more in us here.
Did you know that, here's a fun fact for you, Cam. Alligators, they can grow up to 15 feet.
Wow.
Usually, though, they only grow 4.
We got to end on that one. I'm giving you that one, buddy. DJ with the win. Final play. 5 seconds. Counting down. And 1 second. Because we've had so much fun, we got to keep this thing going. 4th and 10. 1 more play.
Let's see if I bet they punt it. Oh no, they're gonna fire it downfield.
They're gonna shoot it down there.
They're gonna throw another Hail Gary.
Frank Doom says, "Put me in, coach. I'm ready to play."
Yeah.
Brady White says, 1 more attempt at it. It's overthrown. It's incomplete. And Boston takes the victory. Folks, we've got 2 games coming up next week, a week from today. Yes, I said today. It is Thursday. Next Thursday, Philadelphia heads to New York, while Boston heads to San Jose. We get to do it all again. The winners will advance to the finals. What's your final thoughts tonight, DJ?
Hey, Cam, it was just pure domination for Boston. They made Brady White make the small mistakes we know he was dreading, the ones he talked about all week long needing to shut down. We saw great offensive play for both the passing and the running game of Boston. I don't know about you, Cameron, but I saw a different Boston Rebel squad than we've seen all season.
We did. A team that we talked about it at the end of last week, if you remember. We talked about how they had matured, had improved. Seems like they figured out that issue of keeping their foot on the gas the second half, and you see the results tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. You look at the end of that half, 7 and 20 in the first 2 quarters. Outscored themselves in the second half. You don't see that often.
No, not at all. For my partner, yes, at SFL headquarters, Alex West, my buddy, DJ Kilgannon, I got to escort him out the booth here. This is Cameron Duty. We thank you guys again. Thank you for hanging in there with us. You all stay safe. Have a great night, and we'll catch you next time. Good night, everybody.
Night, everyone.